So in this video, we're going to install Apache Kafka that is wrapped using some protocol that is wrapped protocol based on consensus protocol. So we are going to deploy Apache Kafka on Kubernetes. So instead of earlier, they are using like ZooKeeper, some of the additional system they required for the Kafka deployment and management. So basically, the zookeeper keeping your metadata information and it manage the metadata. So we are going to replace this zookeeper with this Kafka Raft consensus protocol. So let me show you like what is the KRaft. KRaft stands for Kafka Wrapped Metadata Mode. So basically, it keep the basically it manage the metadata management inside the Kafka instead of depending upon the zookeeper. So we are going to replace this one, and this is the self-managed metadata management, and they have quorum controller is there, and you can see the quorum controller operate like this mode, like leader and follower mode. So basically, one leader is selected among this Kafka broker, and the follower will follow this leader. So basically, your leader controller generate the events and store the metadata information some specific topic, that is the metadata topic, and all the followers, that is the follower controllers, they consume and apply these events from that in-memory metadata information. Okay, so suppose we are going to deploy three node Kafka cluster. One node is selected as a Kafka leader, I mean the quorum controller leader, and the rest of the two will follow that information from the in-memory metadata topic. Okay, so this is the best concept, and this will replace the zookeeper. So we can directly jump to our demo. Yeah, so I have one Kubernetes cluster, single node Kubernetes cluster. You can see one node is there, and it is ready state control plane having 1.33 version is there. So I have manifest file is there. So inside this directory, you can see basically we're going to apply this manifest. Let me open this manifest file, Kafka deployment. If you check this file, this is the Kubernetes stateful deployment. Instead of deployment, we are going to use this stateful deployment because we need the headless service and we need the persistent volume. You can go through this difference, like what is the difference between stateful and the deployment. Then we have like replicas. We need three replicas, and in public side these images are available. KRaft, Kafka KRaft is available there. We can define the name, container name, and we are going to expose that container port. This is port basically used for the your Kafka broker when we are going to access outside. So the replication factor is 3. There is some environment variable injected inside the Kafka container. You can see the replication factor 3, and all the Kafka stateful set instances are sharing this directory, that is mnt Kafka, and all the remaining thing you can leave it like this is the important thing, that is the volume mount. Whatever the shared directory you are going to use, the same thing you need to define here in the volume mount. So I define one volume here, like in the volume claim template I define one volume, his name is data, and this data having we request some storage from our default storage class, that is 1 gig of disk space, and this volume is mounted on this directory, that is mnt Kafka, and this is act as a shared directory among the all the Kafka instances. So this one is the important one. And after the develop, I mean the stateful set you defined, then you can go ahead for one service, because this service is pointing to all the instance that is here. We are going to create three instance of Kafka broker, and this service is pointing to all these three instance. Okay, so instead of using that Kafka each of the broker stateful set name when you are accessing creating producer or creating consumer, so we can place this one, or we can use this service and the port number. Okay, instead of using the three instances. And this node port is not required, it's an extra thing, but this one is important. So basically your broker is accessible by this 9092. Okay, so this is very simple development, and they are going to deploy on Kafka namespace. Any namespace you can pick. So I'm going to deploy, and one more thing is that the storage class should be ready. So I have one storage class using rancher, and I put that storage class as the default storage class, so that I no need to mention this storage class itself in the deployment. You can see when I asked for some of the PVC, that time I did not mention the storage class name. Simple, I asked for I need 1 GB of disk space. Okay, so we can go ahead for the deployment. Simple k apply hyphen f Kafka deployment. Yeah, done. So we expect two things will be created. One is stateful set, another is service. So let me go ahead to check this one. Since we have deployed in Kafka get all. Yeah, so now the pod creation is ongoing. Okay, so we expect three number of brokers should be created. So it is ongoing, and the service is exposed at the notebook, but this notebook is not essential right now. So in the next video I will cover the UI access, that is the GUI access for this cluster. So today we will going to cover the command line access, how to create a producer and the consumer. Okay, so we can wait for this. All the pods should be ready, that is the stateful set pods. So we can check this one. Yeah, so now we can see all the replicas are ready. So these are the stateful set, not the deployment. Okay, you can see here stateful set 3 by 3 all are ready. Okay, so this is the first stateful set, the second one, and this is the third one. Okay, so let me check one more thing, that is as we provision some persistent volume, we expect the PVC should be created under this namespace. Okay, and each of the broker instance, these are the broker instance. Okay, Kafka 0. So the Kafka 0 is holding the persistent volume, this one. Okay, so this is the persistent volume. So basically provisioned by your storage class, this one, local path. You can see the storage class is local path and having 1 GB of memory, sorry, disk. Okay, so now everything is ready. Your Kafka pods, I mean stateful set pod, and the service is ready. So now we can go ahead to test the producer and the consumer. So let me log into one of the Kafka broker instance. Suppose take the first instance. You can pick any of the instance. So I have some specific commands are there. Yeah, you can exe to that instance. So this is Kafka 0. I already inside this Kafka 0 instance. Okay, so let me create one duplicate session to the same node. This is all the things are running inside my virtual machine. Yes, so we can first let me log in to any of the Kafka instance. Suppose I'm going to take Kafka 1. Okay, here I log into Kafka 0, that is the first instance of broker, and this is the second instance of broker. So I'll log in into that second instance here, and this is the first instance. Okay, so I'll treat one of the instance as producer and another is the consumer, okay, from the topic. Okay, so let me create one topic. Hopefully you are aware of this JMS things like JMS topic and queues. Okay, so I'm going to create one topic. If you want the partition of that topic, you can use this flags like partition number and replication factory you can use. So I'll go with the simple one, that is create one topic having name topic 0. Let me create the topic inside this one. Create topic, topic name. One more thing you can notice here. Yeah, I I mentioned the bootstrap server equal to this one. Okay, so I already mentioned instead of mentioning this Kafka 0, comma Kafka 1, that is the service name. Okay, something Kafka 0, your namespace, like formatting of this, how to access this headless service. Okay, so instead of putting those things, I defined one service, and this service is pointing to all these three stateful set. Okay, so that's why it is very easy to refer this bootstrap server 9092. Hopefully one topic should be created. Now you can see the topic 0 is created inside your Kafka cluster, and I'm going to create one producer. Suppose I'm going to treat this first Kafka broker as a like a producer. Let me, you can take like consumer or producer, whatever you can take. Okay, so now we can see this consumer is listening on this topic 0. Okay, and we mention the bootstrap server, and we can mention this flag. Okay, it will read the message from the beginning. Okay, so let me create another instance. I think I already created. Yeah, so here I'm going to create one tradition. This is the command from, this is automatically available inside your Kafka broker built-in commands. Yeah, so now you can notice in the consumer the message should be consumed immediately. Okay, so I'm going to, yeah, so let me create some producer so that I open the both windows so that it is easy to visualize. Okay, so this is the producer, you can see here. This is the producer script. Automatically it is available inside this Kafka deployment, stateful set. This is the broker URL, broker address, there is the service and 9092, and we are going to put some message inside topic 0. Okay, now this prompt will come. Now we can send some message or generate some message, that is the events. Okay, suppose I am going to test message 1. Okay, so you can notice here in the Kafka 0, that is act as a, we run the consumer script there so that it will consume this message. Okay, so now you can see immediately these are consumed by this, because one consumer right now is active, so that's why it is consuming your message from your producer. Let me put some message like test 2. You can see now it's consumed from here. Similarly, if you want many messages there itself, it will consume from there. Okay, so this is basically basic flow of how the producer is producing the message to the topic, and from the consume, and from the topic how the consumer is consuming each of the messages. Okay, you can run one more message. Consumer. So this is the basic flow how we are deploying this Kafka broker inside the Kubernetes, and all the metadata are managed by this wrapped, that is the wrapped consensus protocol, instead of relying on this ZooKeeper. Okay, the performance definitely very good as compared to ZooKeepers. Okay, the additional layer is not required. And the coming video we are going to deploy This is not the right thing. I think we are going to deploy Kafka UI. Okay, so that instead of going jumping to this command prompt, we are manage all the message queue from the UI. Okay, so we are going to deploy inside the Kubernetes. Okay, so this is the thing. Once you completed sending message, you can press Control C. So this prompt will come, and after that you can exit inside from the Kafka stateful set pod, and here you can also exit. And once everything is completed, you can see all the pods are running state. How to clean up these things? Simple, the command is like, if you don't want this one, then you can run this one. Yeah, delete hyphen f, the same file, kafka deployment. Okay, it is going to delete. But one more thing is that as it is stateful set, so that the pvc will not be deleted. Okay, you can see here it is going to terminate each and sequentially from the lower to higher. Okay, it will definitely delete all the spots within very few couple of seconds. Okay, but it keep that pvc there. Okay, so like if you check here, pvc are still in bounded state. Once you create this pod again, then automatically they are bounded respectively to each of the pvc. Okay, so let me check the pod status. You can see all the pods are cleared from that namespace, but still your PVC are in bounded state. I mean, it's available. Okay, once you going to deploy that same stateful set again, it will bound to this one. If you don't want this PVC, then you can manually delete all these things like delete PVC. I think some all command might be there. Otherwise, you can put the. I think I forget that one. That commands you can delete all PVC. Otherwise, you can put all the PVC mentioned there. Okay, all the PVC are complete. I mean, cleared. You can get PVC. Everything is cleared. Okay, so this is the basic steps on how to deploy and access your topics in Kafka. And the next video will cover the GUI features.